Karen called the cops over my electric fence, but I don't even live in her neighborhood. My name is Devin Cross, and I raise goats, not drama. At least, that's how I thought life would go when I bought 7 acres just outside of Millstone Hills. I wanted land, space, something honest. The property came with a rundown barn, a busted-up fence, and more quiet than I'd heard in a decade. I put in the work, cleaned up the lot, poured fresh posts, and installed a low-voltage electric fence around the perimeter. Standard livestock deterrent. It's marked safe and state certified. That fence was for the goats. Turns out, it needed to keep something else out too. Karen Whitmore. She appeared a week after I installed the fence, marching up in Skechers and authority she didn't have. You can't just put that thing up. She snapped through the wire. I blinked. Why not? It violates the visual harmony clause. The Homeowners Association has regulations about exposed wiring. I stared at her. I'm not in the HOA. She smiled like I just challenged a monarch. Yes, well, proximity counts. Your property borders the rear of the Sandstone Loop extension. That makes it visible impact territory. I laughed. Lady, this isn't a country club. It's a goat farm. You'll be hearing from enforcement. 3 days later, I did hear from enforcement. 2 squad cars pulled up, lights spinning, sirens silent. Karen stood proudly beside them, pointing at my fence like it was a missile silo. I walked out with my permit in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. Afternoon. Officers. What's the issue? One of them, a young guy, decent demeanor, said, we got a call about an illegal electric fence bordering community space. I handed him the folder. State Ag certified. Property lines are all in the deed. The fence is 35 feet from the easement. And this, I pointed to a crumpled sign at Karen's feet, was ripped off my fence post this morning. He looked it over. This all checks out. Karen wasn't done. He zapped a dog, she barked. I did not, I said calmly. Your dog ran under the fence. It hit the lowest wire, got a small zap, and ran off. That's what it's supposed to do. There's a sign every 10 feet. It's a hazard to the community. It's my land. The cops left without a citation. Karen stormed off shouting, this isn't over. I thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. Within a week, she started taping up fake violation notices around the neighborhood, calling my fence a rogue threat, and forming a so-called perimeter safety coalition. She held a meeting. Only 6 people showed up. 4 of them left early, but then she escalated again. She filed a formal complaint to the county zoning board, claiming I had erected unauthorized electric weaponry. That's when I hired a lawyer. Turns out, Karen had a long history of bending lines, property lines, legal lines, moral lines. We dug, found records of her misrepresenting HOA authority, issuing fake fines, even filing false reports to push certain neighbors out. So I pushed back. We gathered a coalition, farmers, old homeowners who'd been threatened, and neighbors tired of her power trips. We presented our case to the zoning board, security footage, maps, her own flyers. The board ruled my fence stays. Karen receives a cease and desist, but it didn't stop there. The local paper picked up the story. HOA Karen tries to shut down livestock fence, ends up exposed for years of harassment, and it exploded online. Videos of Karen's rant at the fence hit 1 million views. The comments were brutal. She tried to HOA a goat fence. That's not a neighborhood issue. That's a Karen problem. Man builds a fence. Karen loses her mind. Karen was stripped of her self-appointed role. The real HOA issued a statement distancing themselves from her. A class action suit is still pending. And me, I added one more sign to my fence. Just above the usual warning label, it reads, private property, goats welcome, Karen's not. Sometimes the thing you build to keep animals in ends up keeping madness out, and no HOA rulebook can override the law of the land. The end.